So Narisa, we're
Yes.
talking about happiness, and the first question is, in what way might having a lot of money lead to people's happiness, and what else besides money can make people happy?
In my opinion, the people stay more happiness if they have happy moments in their life, happy moments and traditions
Okay,
in family.
tell us about traditions.
I can say in my experience, I feel happy when I remember how my family spent and celebrate Christmas, whole family, Christmas, Easter, and it's when I remember it, it's like I feel more comfortable. I forgot how to say it. They stay back home, but I'm here. It's kind of like sad, but at the time it's happy because I remember that happy time. So I think it's very important.
Okay, good. So having happy memories, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess religion also gives them happiness, and that's what they believe in.
Tell us more about that. In what way does religion make people happy?
It can guide them in some way that they should go or how they should behave. What's right and what's wrong.
Now, how would you expand on this into a full paragraph, for example? I don't know if this helped your thinking or not, but why do some people, for example, renounce money when they get old and like go join a monastery?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So some people, when they get old, they renounce money.
Run out money?
Renounce. I just wrote it on the screen if you can see it.
Yeah, what does it mean of this word?
Renounce means I don't want it anymore. Like if you're, for example, royalty, and you don't want your royal position, you can renounce your position. You can renounce wealth. You can say, I don't want it anymore. Some people give away all their money, and then they join a monastery. Do you know monastery?
Primitive life? Like?
Kind of, like to be a monk or a nun. You know, you shave your head and you wear like a simple robe.
Or in Tibet, yeah, in China.
It could be, yeah. So that's common in India. It's common in China to do such a thing. Much more so than in the Western world. We don't have the same kind of tradition. Although there are monasteries where you can be a monk or a nun here too, Catholic ones. Okay, let's just wanted to show you a couple things. Some interesting statistics. Whether you use them or not, could be interesting to read. Narisa, can I get you to read the first one, if you can see it?
Okay. The idea that money can't buy happiness has been disproved by science. That happiness does increase with wealth, but the correlation peaks at earning $75,000 per year. The lower a person's annual income falls below that benchmark, then happier he or she feels. But no matter how much more than 75,000 people make, they don't report any greater degree of happiness. Time reports in 2010 a citizen study from Princeton.
Citing a study.
Citing a study from Princeton University conducted by economist Angus Deaton and psychologist Daniel Kahneman.
Good. Okay. Does that surprise you?
No.
No. Okay. Does that sound like a lot of money?
Not a lot, but that as more money people increase, more they want.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much money, it's not connected with happy, with life, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the second study, maybe I'll get Sylvia to read that one, just the last paragraph.
Psychologists from
Purdue
University and the University of Virginia analyzed world
Gallup poll.
Gallup
is a famous polling company. They do a lot of surveys.
Mm-hmm. From 1.7 million people in 164 countries and cross-referenced their earnings and life satisfactions. Although the cost and standard of living varies across the countries, researchers came up with a bold conclusion. The ideal income for individual is $95,000 a year for life satisfaction and $60,000 to $75,000 a year for emotional well-being. Females with children, of course, will need more.
Families with children, of course, will need more.
Okay.
Okay. Do those amounts surprise you?
I guess, like, if studies are showing that it's this way, then it's proven to be like this.
Yeah, and I think it would be interesting to teach this to kids, like these statistics from an early age, right? Because so many parents are pushing their kids into jobs with really high incomes. But a lot of those kids are quite miserable when they get into those fields. Like so many families, it's completely unacceptable unless the kid becomes a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or an accountant. Right?
I think that this is also connected not only with the financial position, but also like a position in community too. That they want them to feel like they're higher than others.
You mean social status?
Yes.
Yeah. And then but to get those jobs, right, you have to go through so much training, so many years, and if you don't love it, then it's kind of torture, right? And it's not going to make you happier than having a much simpler life. I mean, in Canada anyway, you could be a janitor in a school and make this much money. Right? You could be a garbage man and make this much money in Canada. Police officers make around $95,000 a year. You don't need any real education to be a police officer. Right? Is this something that you would share with your kids? Or would you try and keep it a secret from them?
I think it's better to share because anyway they can find it out very easily.
Do you think it'd be okay to lower their expectations? Like if the kid says, oh, I want to have such and such a job because I want to make so much money because I think having that much money is going to make me happy. Would you want to kind of, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would tell them to also think about this, that they're gonna spend many years in that job, so they need to like it too, not only to make money of it.
To make money from it, right. Okay. All right, let's talk about the structure of this essay. So the structure superficially is very similar to the causes and solutions format we saw in Unit 4. Same length, 4 paragraphs with 2 body paragraphs. So of course, let me quiz some people. Sylvia, what is the structure of the essay going to be? Tell me what goes into each sentence.
Introduction, paragraph, body paragraph, and conclusion.
Mm-hmm. What's the first sentence in the introduction going to be?
Thesis.
That's going to be the second one.
Context.
Context. And what do you do to write the context?
Paraphrase the topic.
Now, paraphrase the prompt, the first part of the prompt, and that gives you the context of whatever you're talking about. Okay, and as you said, thesis is the second part, and in this case, it's going to be two sentences. So we're going to put thesis times 2. Okay, we can jump right down to the conclusion. What's the first sentence in your conclusion going to be?
Also thesis.
Thesis times 2. And generally when the thesis is 2 sentences, often you don't need anything else unless you feel that the ending is really abrupt. So if the ending is too abrupt, then what's the last thing that you can put in?
Final thoughts.
Yeah, and what's a final thought generally?
A summary.
The thesis is already your summary.
Maybe your opinion.
That's the thesis. That's your argument. So whether you want to call it an argument or an opinion, it's basically the same thing. So you've already given that. So the final thought is going to be generally an observation or a prediction, and sometimes call to action. One of them, 2 of them, it doesn't matter. You're not getting points for this, by the way. So do not spend a lot of time writing this, if at all. Right, just if it feels like it's a very abrupt conclusion by just putting your thesis there. You sometimes need it. Narisa, body paragraphs. How are they structured?
I could say evidence. It's not the first one. Evidence, example. Okay. T.
See, it's got this easy acronym TREES.
Yeah, TREES. Yeah. Reason.
Good.
Reason. T. Forgot. Topic.
There we go.
Topic, and the last one. Significant.
That's it. And we're going to double that for body paragraph 2. Whoops, significance. There we go. And I want to reiterate the importance of this sentence. The significant sentence isn't only for the reader. It is also for you, the writer. What I've noticed is that when people don't write the significant statement, there's a higher likelihood that that body paragraph is either completely off topic or only partially, or as we say, tangentially related to the topic, to the prompt. Writing that significant statement forces you to verify that the content of that body paragraph is 100% related to the prompt. You have to make that connection, and it has to be explicit. Doesn't matter how beautiful your writing is, if it's not 100% related, you're getting a low score. Okay. And that's not just a crazy IELTS thing. If you do the same thing in university or even in high school, you're going to have the same issue. Teacher gives you a prompt, you answer the prompt indirectly or only kind of roughly related to the prompt, you're going to get a low score. All right. Okay. So let me give you, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes to write your thesis statement. Put it in the, just put it in the chat. Okay. Let me just put the write the prompt in the chat. And remember, it's a two-part thesis statement, so you're going to need 2 sentences.
Only thesis, not
just the thesis for now. Yeah.
Okay.
So up to 2 sentences. And there's no reason. There we go. Okay, let's check it out. Huh? Okay, Oksana, this is kind of confusing. Having a lot of money is a very significant attainment for happiness for some people. Okay, let's look at the prompt. So we're just doing the thesis part of it, not the context part of it. So we're not doing the first sentence. Okay. In what way might having a lot of money lead to people's happiness? That's the first question you have to answer.
Mm-hmm. I have to breaking down the way which might having a lot of money lead to people happiness, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just a very, very short answer. Because you're developing the answer in the first body paragraph. The purpose of the introduction is it's a super concise answer to the prompt. Okay. Okay, let's get back to you. I'll give you just a minute to think about it. Tina, a lot of money is vital for many people to be happy because they can buy many luxury items. Very straightforward. Good. Or happiness could be achieved in workplace, right? Good. Okay, so this has been coming up repeatedly. Happiness could be achieved. Do we want could be achieved or do we want can be achieved?
What is the difference? Could both of them is like possibility?
Well, can is real conditional.
Can is real conditional. Could, if we'll use it, it's unreal?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, definitely can is real.
So if you're talking about a real possibility, you have to use can.
Okay, so I thought any type of possibility we can use could or would, but when it is unreal possibility.
Yes.
Okay. So can be achieved.
Could is also used for polite requests. Like, could you help me go over this matter?
Yes.
You're really asking, please help me. So here we need happiness can be achieved. Academic studies, good. So Oksana, does this make sense? Two very straightforward answers to two straightforward questions.
Yes.
Yeah, and based on this double thesis, I know exactly how her essay is going to be structured. Okay, her first body paragraph is going to be about buying luxury items and how that makes people happy. And her second body paragraph is going to be about how people can find happiness at work or in school. Okay, Sylvia, money. Okay. All right, Sylvia, what should this be? Hi, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So money is or money are?
Since you said that's wrong, then I guess it is.
Yeah. Do you know why?
I thought it's are, but yeah. Tell me why it is.
Okay. I am. You. What goes after you?
Oh yeah, that's true. It.
You are. He, she, it is. We
are.
You
Are.
And they
Are.
Okay. This one always messes people up the most, but it's money is like it, right? Money is very important in people's life because
It can help them.
That's it. To
Switch to achieve.
Oh yes, there it is. Yeah, I got it. Okay, cause to happen, the expression is bring about. Bring about that result. And now, this is a fragment, okay? So if you did this on your essay, I would indicate sentence fragment. Do you know why?
No.
Okay, do you know what sentence fragment means?
No.
All right. So right now outside it's raining, right? At least it's raining by my house. So this is a sentence, correct? Okay. Is this one okay? Is this one still okay as a sentence?
It is.
It's not, because it's half an idea. It's like saying because it's raining, well, because it's raining, so what? Because it's raining, the kids are staying inside for recess. Okay. Although it's raining, I still have to take the dog out. Right? So this is a sentence. This is what we call an independent clause. And this is what we call a dependent clause. Have you heard that terminology before?
No.
Super quick grammar lesson. Any idea what clause means?
Subject, object. Yeah.
Close. It's subject plus predicate. Subject plus predicate combination. This is the simplest way to divide a sentence or a clause into subject and predicate. So what does predicate mean? It just means verb plus whatever comes after the verb, whatever the verb controls. So if I say, I love pizza is the predicate. Okay, the verb plus the object. So an independent clause is a subject plus predicate combo that can be a sentence. It's raining is okay. It is the subject. It's a dummy subject, doesn't mean anything, but it's a subject. And is raining is your predicate. Is that okay? So far, so good? Yeah. Now, so independent, what does this word mean? Sylvia. What does the word independent mean?
That is just standing there alone.
That's right. So we call it an independent clause because it can stand alone by itself and it makes sense completely by itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's raining. Everyone understands what that means. That is a complete idea. But if you do something like this,
Mr. Jan, I can see your screen.
okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So now I've added the word because at the beginning. Can this still stand alone as an independent idea?
No.
No, it needs something else after it, right? Because it's raining, well, so what? What does that mean? Because it's raining, we can't paint the outside of the house. Okay, so this is the independent clause. This can be a complete idea by itself, and this we call a dependent clause. So whenever you put a word like this in front of an independent clause, it stops being a sentence on its own because now it's just part of an idea. And that's what you've got here. Although there are some other ways we can bring about that result. Right.
So I need to add something to that.
Well, you can connect this to the previous one because this is an independent clause.
Mm-hmm.
So the easy way to fix this would just be to put a comma here instead of the period. That would be the same as, I can put it at the end. I'm going to change the conjunctive, the subordinating conjunction. I'm going to change it. Even though it's raining. Even though, although, basically the same thing. Okay, so that's what you've got. Originally, you've got something like this. all we're doing is connecting it like this. What you have to familiarize yourself with, and I got to give you some more grammar here, is the difference So these are two things that you need to review in the complex sentences part of the course. Because subordinating conjunctions are words that start subordinate clauses. So the one you used is a subordinating conjunction. What other words do you know that fall in this category? I also put because there, so that's another one. Any others that you know?
However.
No, and I'm glad you said that one. That one goes in this category. Feel free to help her out. Let's generate a short list of subordinating conjunctions. If you know any, just call them out.
Can we? While, whereas. Since?
Right. What about conjunctive adverbs? Sylvia, what other words do you know that behave the same way as however?
On the other side?
On the other hand can work that way. Not on the other side, but on the other hand.
Therefore?
Yep. Another common one.
Furthermore, yeah.
Yep.
Moreover. Thus, finally, consequently, subsequently.
Thereby.
I'm going to leave that one out. You're going to get into trouble if you use that one. Thereby usually goes before a participial phrase, an active participial phrase. It can get a bit tricky, so avoid that one if you're not confident about it. You can try and use it, and I'll see if you're using it correctly.
Before participial, for example, when we put comma and we write thereby increasing.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to okay, so there's a lesson on semicolons and conjunctive adverbs. And it's really important to familiarize yourself with these because it's a different sentence construction. Notice that these and these basically correspond. That in terms of the meaning, you've got the same function, the same meaning in both categories, right? Like, for example, although and however essentially mean the same thing. So you can't have a sentence that just begins with one of these and then you put a period at the end of the clause. But you can begin that same sentence with this word and put a period there. So here you could do that.
You could just switch although for however.
That's it. If it starts with although, it's got to be attached to an independent clause as well, like this one here. So you would just get rid of the period. If you do however, that's fine. You just put however at the beginning of the sentence, any of these, and notice they're all followed by commas. Right, so check out that lesson and you'll have a comprehensive list of these.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a huge difference. That result. Okay, so this is acceptable. Good. And Nerissa, at our time for lots of people, happiness is equal money. Okay, you need a different preposition here.
In our?
Yes. In our time, for lots of people, happiness is equal money. Happiness, equal can be a verb too. Did you know that?
No.
So we're going to do happiness equals money.
Oh, equals.
You can say happiness is equal to money.
And this way, equal will be adjective. Is equal.
Is equal to. Treat the whole thing as a singular phrase.
Okay, is equal to.
Yes. You can treat this whole thing as a big verb phrase. It doesn't, in a lot of situations like this, it doesn't make sense to chop this up into further analysis. Just remember the whole thing, treat this whole thing as a verb, because here you've got your subject, like a verb phrase, and then an object. Or you can do happiness equals money. Lots of people, happiness equals money. Now, Nerissa, you need a comma in that first sentence. Where do you think it belongs?
After, of course.
I mean in the first sentence.
For you. Our time, comma, for lots of people, happiness. Yeah.
You could put another comma in here too.
Yeah. Can we put one comma only after for lots of people?
Mm-hmm. You could.
In our time, for lots of people, and then one comma.
As a general rule, whatever comes before the subject, offset it with a comma. And you can hear that comma when you're speaking. In our time, for lots of people, happiness equals money. It's a very clear pause there. In the morning, I eat breakfast. Very clear pause. In the morning, I eat breakfast. Of course, it's very
For me,
important.
it's better to put two commas. In our time, comma, for a lot of people, happiness, kind of like more sounds better.
Good. I'm glad you said that because your ears are very important for grammar. It's critical to read your work out loud, and where you find yourself naturally pausing, that tells you you probably need punctuation there. Let's look at the next sentence. Of course, it is very important to make money and increase their amount, which is give you more comfortable life. Does that sound okay?
First one, which is give you more without more before you. Which is give you more comfortable life.
Just give. Of course, it is very important to make money and increase. What does there refer to?
It amount.
Increase its amount.
Yeah.
Of course, it's very important to make money and increase its amount. That's a bit awkward. Of course, it is very important to make money and... Any suggestions here?
And increase them.
Well, money is generally uncountable. She has a lot of money. He doesn't have much money. Right, so you need to use other words to denote the quantity of money. By itself, money, in some narrow aspects, you will see monies, but that's really unusual and you're never going to need that for IELTS. Increase its amount. Sure,
But
like,
what another word can be to say without money? Not only money, but another synonyms.
You're talking about it's important to make more and more, right? Of course, it's very important to make money and constantly earn more. And that's another way you could do it. Which is give you, what's the verb here? Is it is or is it give? Okay, I'm gonna help you out here, which gives you a more comfortable. So live is the verb.
Oh,
I
sorry.
live in Toronto. That's right. But you can't.
Live, but right live. Sorry.
There we go. That's right. But you can't buy any feelings.
It's not whole sentence. It needs to more something.
Let's say happy feelings. Okay, so here's the thing. Are you concerned because you started the sentence with but?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like I can put after life comma and continue a but you can't buy any happy feelings.
Yes, I would recommend doing that. Here's the thing. There actually is no rule in English that you cannot start a sentence with a coordinating conjunction. So here's a bit more grammar terminology. So what's the acronym that everyone knows for coordinating conjunctions?
I don't know.
Okay, so there's fanboys. I like to use soyban because one of them is obsolete. We don't really use it anymore. So what are these coordinating conjunctions? They're all 2 or 3 letter words.
So, of.
Or.
Our first time hear about that.
Okay.
Yet, but, and, now, maybe.
Nor. There actually is no rule that you can't start a sentence with these. The problem is, though, that most English teachers are not aware of this rule. They think there's a rule that you are never allowed to start a sentence with a coordinating conjunction. However, if you look through a lot of prestigious magazines, if you look through Harvard Business Review, for example, writers often start sentences with coordinating conjunctions. It's more terse, it's more direct, and it's a stylistic choice. You could say, however, you can't buy any happy feelings, but is shorter, it's more direct, it sounds better. So that's the rule in the real world. That being said, on the examination, I wouldn't take that chance just in case you get one of these English teachers that thinks that's a rule, and I would not start a sentence with one of these words on IELTS. All right, so as you said here, easy way to fix this is just to put a comma, but. So now let's get back to Oksana's, the first one. Okay, Oksana, do you have a new version that you'd like to do?
Okay, some people don't. In what way? Okay. Having a lot of money is very a significant attainment for happiness for some people, comma. For example, they can handle it, a good education, or even living in privilege, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Can I just give you a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm always in favor of trying to say this as simply and as directly as possible. For many people, having a lot of money is important for their happiness because what?
Because of luxury life, or allows them.
A lot of luxuries. And I'm going to add which they equate with happiness.
Equate.
Okay. So that's another verb version of equal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very kind of sophisticated, high-level version of equals. Okay. Now we need another sentence for the other part.
The other part is what else besides money can make people happy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Beside money.
So let's say for others.
For others, comma, besides money.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not, wait.
Don't even need that.
Okay, for others.
What can make people happy?
What money can make people, besides money can make people besides money. I don't know, a simple makes them happy for others. So, okay. Simple things make people happy. For example, I don't know, do I have to make, no, I don't need to make any examples there.
You don't. You technically don't. And I'll tell you, I'm not thrilled with this kind of really short IELTS thesis because it's not good writing, because I have no idea what you're going to talk about. When people just say, and I agree for the following reasons, that's not proper thesis structure in the academic world or even in the real world, if you're like writing for a paper or a letter to the editor, by convention, you're supposed to summarize your main points in the thesis. IELTS doesn't require it, so for that reason, you don't need to give it. But just as we're doing this exercise, let's try and do that, because this is also a very good way of summarizing your ideas in the conclusion. In the conclusion, you want to give a summary of the reasons as well. You want to give like a full thesis statement. So you can give the simplistic version in the introductory paragraph, but give the full version at the end.
Okay, for example, for others.
So if you say simple things, then it'll be like simple things like what?
Oh no, I changed my mind.
Okay.
For others, being healthy is the most important thing. So health you can't buy for the money, something like that. Then money may, yeah.
Okay. This is not rocket science. This is easy. Okay. Very nice thesis statement. So these full ones, if you don't use it for the intro, you can at least use it for the conclusion. Okay. Any questions about this so far?
Equate is a verb or noun?
It's a verb.
It's a verb.
Yes. And it's always equate with. Most people equate having money with happiness. This is you can consider it very advanced usage because it's unusual, but there's nothing complicated about it. All right, why don't we move on to a couple body paragraphs? Do you want to work together, or do you want to work independently to write a couple body paragraphs?
Independent.
Okay, I can let you work independently then. Why don't I give you 10 minutes to write one of the body paragraphs? So let's say Nariza and Oksana are going to do the first body paragraph, and then Dina and Sylvia can do the second body paragraph. So we'll have 4 in total, 2 of each, 2 of the first one, 2 of the second one. Okay, so just do them in the chat and I'll give you 10 minutes to get those done. Okay, let's start with Nariza. All right, because Nariza and Oksana did the first paragraph, so that'll make more sense. Okay, it's very important to have money and opportunity to spend it for everything what you want. To live in own house, drive a car, to live in for things you need money. If they can buy not only what, but what they want. Okay, good. It's a bit simplistic, but it gets your point across, so it's not bad. It's a good start. Nariza, let's look at the grammar a little bit. Let's see if your ears can help you. Try reading this out loud and tell me tell me how we can fix all these issues.
Okay. It is very important to have money and the opportunity to spend. Spend Spend.
Spend it?
Yeah, spend it. After 4, I didn't know what it might be.
Yeah, different preposition.
It.
What do you like to spend money? I like to spend it cars.
On?
Yeah, so Narisa?
With.
No,
I don't hear.
spend money on stuff. I spend too much money on clothes.
Yeah, I hear it. When I was think, which I want, which you want.
Good. Your choices here are which or that. Both are fine in this case. Okay.
Can be both, yeah.
Yeah, this is a really common issue to use what instead of which or that.
Here, the next one, to live in, not put another word, plus word, but use one word. What is better? To live in, like own house, but not put another word.
You have to.
Yeah.
You gotta put something in here.
Like in your own house.
There you go. Perfect.
But I want to without your.
Your other option is one's. To live in one's own house. That's a more sophisticated way of doing it. And that's a more kind of abstract, neutral way. Your is better. To live in your own house, drive a car, that's better.
For those without all?
Yeah, you can get rid of it. Or you could put all those things. For all those things you need money. Or you can just put for those things you need money. Good.
People feel much happier.
There you go.
If they can buy not only what they need, but what they want. Now everyone likes traveling and feels much happy if
feels more
not
happy.
much
more happy. Good.
Okay. So much more happy after that for a long time, but without money it is almost impossible.
Okay. So how come I didn't really have to help you fix this? It's almost like some magic just took place.
Don't know.
Just think about it for a second. When you were writing this, were you saying it out loud to yourself?
I don't understand what you want to, where you see the problem.
When most people are writing,
yeah,
they're just using their eyes. But your brain has two language centers. One is visual, one is auditory. You've got like the eyes and things like brain structures connected to the eyes take up a huge amount of our brain. This is a big area at the back of our head. Our eyes are really important to us. Ears, less so. But your eyes are too fast. That's part of the problem. That when we write, it's the same reason that you are able to speed read. Your eyes are jumping from key idea to key idea. But grammar is largely auditory. It's like the rhythm or music of a language. And you need your ears to hear these issues. Your ears are going to guide you. Like even if you don't play a musical instrument and someone hits the wrong note, you know that something sounds odd, right? Even if you don't know what it is. So the rule is, if in doubt, cut it out. Whether it's vocabulary that you're not 100% confident about, or a verb structure that you're not 100% confident about, revise it to make it something simpler. Okay, because the examiner doesn't know what you didn't write. They only know what you did put down on the page. So a simpler construction isn't going to cost you points, but errors will. Okay, but you have to use your ears.
I see now can be nowadays. Nowadays, everyone likes.
Sorry, where are you? Oh,
the last one. Yeah, first in the sentence. Nowadays, not now, or like nowadays.
That's an improvement. Okay, good. This is a bit underdeveloped. It would benefit from some additional explanation, maybe a better developed example. You could talk about how much money it costs to travel, but overall, it's good now. This is an excellent starting point. All right, Oksana. Believe that happiness is equate with money. Money allows people stay financially. So having money allows people financially protected, for example. This is kind of repetitive, okay? So that last sentence, you're not really saying anything that you haven't said previously.
I have to add more examples, right?
The instructions always tell you to provide reasons and examples. If you don't provide an example, that's considered not following the instructions and you will not get a 7. Some people believe that happiness, you want the simpler version that we talked about.
Equally?
Equals.
Equal. Yeah, equals.
That's the easy version.
Having money allows people to stay.
Good.
Financial protector, for example, good financial statement.
What's the simple way to explain what that means? Imagine I'm a 12-year-old kid. Good financial statement doesn't mean anything to a 12-year-old. What do you really mean?
Financial stability, maybe. I don't know.
Lots of money in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just afraid to write this, having lots.
Why?
I don't know, because I think it's so simple, and I don't know.
Let me ask you something. When you're reading, do you like being confused?
No, I'm always confused.
Do you enjoy that confusion?
Sometimes, you know.
No, you don't. You're lying. No, everyone who reads wants to just get the main idea and then go do the next thing that they have to do.
Okay.
Right? When I open up the newspaper to read an article and I can't understand what the article is about, that's not an enjoyable experience. Right? So it's the same for the reader. You're not writing for yourself. This is not your journal. This is not your personal private diary that no one's allowed to read. This is being written for, let's say, a 12-year-old child. That's the level of comprehension you're aiming for. So you need to use direct language that a 12-year-old is going to understand. Forget about a 40 or 50-year-old examiner. That's a bad audience to imagine you're writing for. I'm not kidding. When I say 12-year-old, I am not exaggerating. I didn't pull that number out of the sky. Advertising agencies tell their writers, their copywriters, to aim for a grade 6 reading level. Grade 6 is 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. Because whenever people aim higher, including professional writers, their sentences get way too long. Their vocabulary choices get way too complicated. And then everyone is confused. Even smart people, they're constantly in a rush. And when they're reading, this is not literature. The person who reads this is not reading it in a relaxed condition, enjoying a glass of wine or a cigar. They're not reading Shakespeare. They're just trying to get the key ideas out of your work and move on to the next thing on their pile of things to do, right? So they all want to be able to get through it quickly. So that's why you need the simple, direct language. Please visualize this 12-year-old in front of you. That's your audience.
And having lots of money in the bank can offer or can allow. Is that not the same, offer and allow?
No.
Okay.
Allow is the common way to do it. Common is better. All right. Get rid of this. What should come next in the tree's structure?
It should be the last one. Significance.
Well, you're missing an example.
Okay.
This is an explanation.
Oh, okay.
But you're missing an example.
And for example, people to live a luxury life, comma, buying, for example, buying expensive houses or expensive cars. Expensive car. Can help them to feel happier. Makes them feel happy. Without money. Substantial amount of money.
To make it a tiny bit fancy without a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
Because I already said lots of money here, so I don't want to say lots of money again. A substantial amount of money is a good synonym. Okay. All right, let's look at Dina's now. On the other hand, being successful at work or school is more likely to bring happiness for most people. Okay. This is because people who are satisfied in their work or study are full of joyful. Dina, does that sound okay?
Joyful is not synonym for happiness?
This form is not. What part of speech is joyful?
Joyful adjective.
Yep.
So full of joy.
That's it.
Oh.
Are full of joy in their daily lives. Their happiness was their job satisfaction. Good. The reason
No, second, I correct the second paragraph because I,
yes,
yeah,
I see
reason for. Yeah, I know, reason for.
Yep, cause of, reason for.
For, yes. So this body paragraph is same as the second one. So
Okay.
you can read anyone.
Yeah, good research to quote. I mean, you need to make this stuff up. It has to be reasonable. It has to be logical, but make it up. What other kind of research could you quote to support your ideas here?
What do you mean?
I'm not crazy about this evidence because the main reason for because a survey done among workers who were successful in their jobs revealed that the main reason for their happiness was their job satisfaction. It's kind of a circular argument.
We can say 80%, for example, we add a percent. Yes. Primarily for financial reasons. Okay.
Okay, can you complete the sentence?
Most workers who are happy in their job. Here we say, for example, in their job or in their jobs.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay, are happy not primarily for financial reason, rather they are happy at work because they are satisfied with their job positions, or by
What is it at work that makes people happy? For example, you're a doctor. What is it about being a doctor that makes you happy?
For example, in my job, I feel happy because I feel that, like, you know, by giving care for people, they will be healing from pain or diagnose, or maybe discover
that should,
some disease. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so easy for you to talk about. Right? That's what I would talk about. For example, as a doctor, I don't do the work primarily for financial reasons. You could say the money is nice, but I get the most enjoyment out of seeing people's quality of life improve. Right?
Quality of life improve. Yeah.
They're
relieving their pain.
Improve. Relieving pain. Yeah, this reminds me of a saying. What was it? A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. An unhealthy person has
one dream.
One dream. Has anyone heard this one before?
Yeah.
That's a good saying you could use. And I'll share this document with you so you can copy all this stuff afterwards. Okay, so this would be kind of evidence that I would talk about first. So this would be the evidence, not the example. And then the example would be,
for example, as a doctor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nice. You could say, I derive. That's a good word. That's a very high level word. I derived the most satisfaction from seeing the quality of my patients, plural possessive, seeing the quality of my patients' lives improve.
What is this word? Derive?
Mm-hmm.
It is not drive.
No. Derive means you produce something out of something else. Or you get something out of something else. Like chocolate is derived from cocoa beans.
Derive, yeah. It's like extracted from, or?
Exactly. That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
And has anyone else posted? Sylvia's. Okay, good. Happiness, good. Things that we can't buy, such as emotions or memories. Good. If people want to share their feelings with others. Showing people. Okay. From a content perspective, this is good. What you're missing, though, is what's that last sentence in each body paragraph? And sorry, it's 9 o'clock. If you have to run, okay, that's it. Goodbye. I'm just going to stick around to just finish this up with Sylvia. So I will post the assignment location in just a few minutes, but it's in Unit 5. It's at the end of the unit. Okay, Sylvia, what's the last sentence in a body paragraph supposed to be?
Significant.
And that's what's missing. It forces you to explicitly state how this paragraph is connected to the prompt. Okay, let's just, so I'll let you sort that part out, but let's just look at the grammar very quickly. Okay, first 1, 2, 3 sentences are great. Statistics are showing. This is, do you know what this verb tense is called?
No.
It's present continuous, right? Like I am talking, you are talking. But statistics these things are generally true all the time. So for things that are true all the time, just use present simple. That's the most common. Show. Because statistics is plural, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that are true all the time doesn't matter, use present simple.
Mm-hmm.
Statistics show that people who are loved. It's passive voice, but present simple passive. No commas here.
Okay.
People who are loved, because we don't know which people you're talking about unless you include this idea, right? So if that idea in this thing, it's called a relative clause, is necessary for us to know who the heck these people are, then you don't put commas. Here,
Not sure what I should do.
So the problem you've got here is called a double subject. People and they are the same thing, right? So you're not allowed to do that. It's a grammar no-no. So just delete it.
Without it?
Yeah. People who are loved are less likely to have depression. Or relationship. Having a family or relationships.
Okay.
Having a family or being, you could also say being in a relationship, like having a boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Makes us feel secure. Okay? Similarly, religion, just religion in general. Most people don't have multiple religions, right? They just kind of pick one. Similarly, religion can help us to feel happier. You don't need to. It's optional. It can help us feel happier and guide us in our life. For example, comma. Almost always, and you can hear it. For example, it can teach us what's wrong and what's right. So that's just spelling.
I should put it also.
Well, that would be a new sentence, and you would have a run-on sentence. And yeah, simple three-letter word starts with A.
And?
That's it. That's your third option here, right? It can teach us what's wrong, what's right, and also the consequences of our choices. This and you don't need it. Okay, I see what you did here. No, that's fine. You can leave it as is. It can teach us what's right and what's wrong. This is like a binary choice, so you don't need that comma. It can teach us what's right and what's wrong, and also the consequences of our choices. Very nice. Significant statement often starts with, for that reason. What should I write next?
There are things. There are things that we cannot buy with money.
Let's put one more word in here.
And not be paid?
We can.
Cannot be.
I'm going to simplify this. These are important things we cannot buy. That's it. You don't need to say with money because it's...
Buy, yeah, it's my money. Okay.
Right, and because you put a sentence like this at the end, that makes it crystal clear how that paragraph is connected to the prompt. Okay. We could make it more explicit. These are important things needed for our
Happiness.
that we cannot buy. Very nice. Okay, we're over time. That's it for today. I'll just share this with you in a minute and post the writing location.